Hi there, ladies and gentlemen. 'Tis I, Michael A. Grimm, aka the Multi-Voice. I have many voices, but one opinion. And sorry for the delay, ladies and gentlemen. I gone through a really bad flu, but now I'm finally got better, except I still have a bit of the cough going. So I'm trying my best to prevent the coughs. But, and what I'm eating here are Scooby snacks. Somebody wants me to review Scooby-Doo. I said no because this is too much for me to review, but they asked me to do it for a Scooby snack. I was like, no. And then they asked me to do it for a cup full of Scooby snacks. And I was like, okay, I'll do it for a cup full of Scooby snacks. And I mean the Gentleman Graham cracker Scooby snacks, not the whatever you're thinking of. But I mentioned about Scooby snacks because this is what I'm going to be doing right now. Sometimes they're a little dry. But anyway, my review for today is, of course, Scooby-Doo. Now, Scooby-Doo has gone through a lot recently, and I'm gonna straight up mention everything about Scooby-Doo. And here's how the premise goes. You have a group of teenagers starring Fred Jones, Daphne Blake, Velma Dinkley, Shaggy Rogers, and Scoobert Scooby Dooby Doo. And how the story goes, it's pretty an obvious premise. You always have somebody who pretends to be a ghost, a monster, who starts terrorizing the town. So it's up for Scooby and the gang to figure out who's behind the mask. Because most of the time it's always a guy wearing a mask, pretend to be a ghost, but it's just a guy with a mask. Although, I don't know if it's a crime for somebody to dress up as a monster and start scaring people away. I mean, I know it's got to do with robberies, like there's something very valuable that they want nobody else to get, or something like that. But how Scooby Doo started, it all started with this one cartoon company who goes by the name of Hanna-Barbera. And Hanna-Barbera made this cartoon series from 1969 to 1970, Scooby-Doo, Where Are You? And of course, that's why the whole term, like when you hear Shaggy going like Scooby Doo, where are you? Over here. Yeah, that's right. I can do Shaggy and Scooby. Right, Shaggy and Booby. Scooby Dooby Doo. And then after the classic cartoon have ended in 1972 to 1973, they decided to make new Scooby Doo movie. Now, Scooby Doo movies, that's where they started having guest stars. They always keep having Don Knotts, have Jonathan Winter, and now they didn't really have Laurel and Hardy in the cartoon. They only did that to promote their new cartoon series of Laurel and Hardy, even though they didn't have the real Laurel and Hardy in them. And even they even cross over with the Three Stooges because of some cartoon of the Three Stooges they made, which turned out to be the Mechanical Stooges. And I mentioned that on my Three Stooges review. And even they even do Scooby Doo meets the Harlem Globetrotters, one of the best basketball team in the world. Now I'm not much of a sports person, so I'm just not a not a big fan on basketball. And then in 1976 and 1978, they made a brand new series of Scooby Doo called The Scooby Doo Show. Like hanging around with Scooby Doo, that's my pal. And of course, they introduce another character who turns out to be Scooby-Doo's cousin, Scooby-Dum. He is like Scooby-Doo, except he's not as bright as Scooby. That's why he is called Scooby-Dum. And he's a little bit braver than Scooby and Shaggy. And then after that series was done, they did another one called Scooby's All-Star Laugh-Olympics from 1977 and 1979. It was not just Scooby-Doo and the gang, it was all the Hanna-Barbera cartoons together, like Fred Flintstone, Yogi Bear, Huckleberry Hound. I mean, all the Hanna-Barbera cartoons. And then there was another cartoon where they introduced a new character, and it was called Scooby-Doo and Scrappy-Doo back in 1979 and 1983. Now, here's one thing I'm going to talk about right here, the character Scrappy-Doo. When I was young, I loved Scrappy-Doo. And I didn't like it when they made him into a bad guy from this one Scooby-Doo I'm going to mention pretty soon. I mean, I love Scrappy-Doo because, I guess not many people like Scrappy-Doo because he's so annoying, but I like Scrappy-Doo because he's brave. Every time when there's a ghost around, he's like, let me at him, let me at him, I'll pulverize him. Da-da-da-da-da, puppy power! But sadly, somebody hated Scrappy for some damn dumb reason. But also, they did a sort of a side episode where Scrappy Doo not only hang out with Scooby, he also hangs out with his other uncle who goes by the name of Yabba-Doo. Yabba-Doo and Deputy Dusty. Now, unlike Scooby and Shaggy, who are cowards, Yabby and Deputy Dusty, they're not cowards like Shaggy and Scooby. They're brave because they are supposed to be people who represents the law. So anytime something evil happens, they're smart enough to take him down without getting scared. It's just they always foil their plans over how to capture the crook, but they capture the crook anyway. And then in 1980 to 82, Scrappy crosses over with Richie Rich. And then there is the new Scooby and Scrappy Doo in 1983 to 1985, year I was born. Except this time it didn't have Fred and Velma in it. It just have um, Shaggy, Scooby, and of course Daphne. This I don't get. I mean, I know some of you people like Daphne because she's the hot redhead. But the girl I like is Velma, and I got more to say about her almost at the end of this review. But I just don't get why they pick why they pick Daphne. They need to pick Velma because she's the brainiac. She's the smart one, for God's sakes. And then all of a sudden, they did another series from 1984 to 1985 called Scary Scooby Funnies. It's just maybe some reprints and all. And then they did something really interesting. They introduced two new characters and made a series called The 13th Ghost of Scooby-Doo from 1985 to 1986. And of course, they introduce Vincent Von Ghoul, voiced by the late, great Vincent Price, and of course, another character named Flim Flam, a young Hispanic kid. And then there was this other series that I enjoyed when I was a little kid because I loved this show more than the original Scooby Doo series, Pup Named Scooby-Doo, from, from 1988 to 1991. Now, the reason why I love Pup Named Scooby-Doo, because of one reason and one reason only. I like it better if Scooby and the gang were little kids. And that's how I feel. Now, there is one episode they made back in 1997 that I really like, and it was an episode in Johnny Bravo and not a Scooby Doo cartoon where Johnny Bravo crossover with Scooby Doo called Bravo Dooby Doo in 1997. Hey, little mama, how about I give you a Scooby snack? Now, another series, a brand new series. Now, I'm going to get to the movies later, so right now I'm focusing on the series until I get to the other ones. But a brand new series came up called What's New Scooby-Doo from 2002 to 2006. I remember that because it had that really catchy song. What's a Scooby-Doo coming after you? We're gonna solve that mystery. Come on, Scooby-Doo, coming after you. What's new, Scooby-Doo? Man, that just reeks the early 2000s. Something that I remember when I was young. And then in 2006 to 2008, there's another series called Shaggy and Scooby-Doo Got a Clue. Hmm. And then they made another one in 2010 to 2013, Scooby-Doo Mystery Incorporated. And then in 2015 to 2018, there was also Be Cool, Scooby-Doo. And then there is also Scooby-Doo and Guess Who from 2019 to 2021. Now, I remember this one because this one was a brand new series where they cross over with brand new people. And of course, it wasn't the first time that Scooby Doo crossed over with Batman. I mean, Scooby Doo did cross over with Batman before on a new Scooby Doo movie. Oh, and while I'm on the subject on Batman, I heard about what happened to Kevin Conroy. It was really sad to hear about Kevin Conroy passing away. I mean, he was my childhood icon of Batman's, and he was the one who inspired me to do my voice of Batman. And I'll always remember him saying this: I am vengeance. I am the night. I am Batman. Rest in peace, Kevin Conroy. We'll never forget you. Now let's get to the movies, shall we? Now, they made a lot of movies, believe it or not, and it was crazy. In 1987, they made Scooby Doo Meets the Blues Brothers. They're kind of like the ghostly version of the Three Stooges. Why silent? Yeah, 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 yeah. Back in 1987. And then they made Scooby Doo and the Ghoul School in 1988, where Scooby Doo and Shaggy and Scrappy have to be in an all girls school, but all these girls are all monsters. I mean, it's like every time when they make a Scooby Doo movie, Shaggy somehow is wearing a red shirt instead of a green shirt, and they're dealing with real monsters, which that's kind of odd, if you ask me. No more guy under the mask, just real monsters. And they made Scooby-Doo and the Reluctant Werewolf in 1988, where Shaggy turns into a werewolf. And then there is Scooby-Doo and the Arabian Nights in 1994. Arabian Night, Arabian Day. And then they did the Scooby-Doo behind the scenes in 1998. It was supposed to be like Behind the Music, a documentary about Scooby and the gang, how they all end up together and all. And then in 1998, they made a groundbreaking first feature length movie of Scooby-Doo called Scooby-Doo in Zombie Island, where this time they're zombies in the island and they're real. Spoiler alert, it turns out it was a group of cat people who suck souls out of his victims and the victims turn into zombies. Pretty dark if you ask me. Until they did a sequel called Scooby-Doo Return to Zombie Island 2019, but it stunk because it was nothing like the first movie. Why did they always have to make sequels? Why they make movie sequels that sucked in the original? I mean, that's the problem with people. And then they did Scooby-Doo and the Witch's Ghost in 1990. And that's when they start introducing this band group who calls themselves the Hex Girls. Now, the Hex Girls, they're kind of like what if Josie and the Pussycats are vampire witches. But of course, they are Wiccans, so it's pretty obvious. And then they did a parody of Scooby-Doo called Scooby-Doo Project in 1999, where where Scooby and the gang are acting like they're reenacting the Blair Witch Project, and everybody knew how popular that movie was. Everybody believed it was real until I mean, I thought it was real when I saw the Blair Witch Project until I started recognizing some of the cast groups. But for a moment, I thought it was real. But it turns out it was a mockumentary. You know, that's the thing about mockumentary. Sometimes it makes you feel like it was real, like all this really happened, but it didn't. And then we starts getting a little spacey all of a sudden when it comes to Scooby-Doo and the Alien Invaders in 2000. And then they did Scooby-Doo and the Cyber Chase, where Scooby and the gang found their cyber video game avatars of themselves. And then they did Night of the Living Scoob in in 1990 in 2001, where it has guest stars like Gary Coleman and David Cross. And then here's the live action ones, which I did enjoy. I did enjoy the live action ones. Like there was Scooby Doo the movie in 2002, although I really hated where they made Scrappy the bad guy because I didn't think it was fair to make Scrappy the bad guy in this. But I did like the actress who plays Velma because I thought she was really hot. And I was okay with Sarah Michelle Gellar when she's playing Daphne, but I always remember her as Buffy. And then they did a sequel, which I like more, is of course Scooby Doo 2 Monsters Unleashed in 2004. And then all of a sudden in 2009, they made Scooby Doo Mystery Begins, where they're all young kids, just like Pup Named Scooby Doo. And then they did Scooby Doo Curse of the Lake Monster in 2010. And then all of a sudden, they decided to do a sort of a Scooby Doo live action mystery where this time there's no Scooby, no Shaggy, no Fred, but just the two girls. They made a live action movie of Daphne and Velma in 2018. Now, I really like the actress who played Velma on that one because I thought she was, pretty in a nerdy kind of way. I love nerdy girls, okay? And then in 2003, they made Scooby-Doo and the Legend of the Vampire. And around the same year, they did Scooby-Doo and the Monster of Mexico. Dios mío. And then they did Scooby-Doo and the Loch Ness Monster in 2004. Hola Scooby-Doo in 2005, year I graduated from high school. Scooby-Doo and Where's the Mummy in 2005. And then there's I mean, there is Aloha Scooby-Doo. Scooby-Doo Pirates Luau. That's it, Luau. Chill Out Scooby-Doo in 2007. Scooby-Doo and the Goblin King in 2008. Scooby-Doo and the Abominable Doo in 2010. Oh no, not the Abominable Doo, no. Abracadabra. Abracadabra Doo, that's it. Not the Abominable Snowman, I don't know what I'm... And of course, Scooby-Doo and Camp Scare in 2010. But that's not all. They made Scooby-Doo and the Legend of the Phantosaurus in 2011. Hmm. Scooby-Doo and the Mad Music Vampire in 2012. Scooby-Doo Haunted Holiday in 2012. Big Top Scooby-Doo. Scooby-Doo and the Mask of the Blue Falcon, a superhero from Hanna-Barbera, where he's a superhero just like a bird who has like a dumb robotic dog called Dino Mutt. And of course, there is Scooby-Doo and the Mystery of the Map in 2003. Scooby-Doo Stage Fright 2013. Scooby-Doo and the Spooky Scarecrow 2013. Scooby-Doo Mech Mutt Madness 2013. Oh yeah, and this is the first time they had Scooby-Doo crossover with the WWE wrestling. Like there is Scooby-Doo WrestleMania Mystery in 2014, starring his name is John Cena. You can't see me. My time is now. And then they cross over with the WWE again on Scooby Doo WWE Curse of the Speed Demon in 2016. So that's twice they cross over with the wrestlers. Hmm. And then there is Scooby Doo Franken Creepy in 2015. Scooby Doo Moon Monster Madness 2014. Scooby Doo Beach Beastie in 2015. Scooby Doo meets Kiss, where the great rock band I mentioned in my Detroit Rock City review, where Scooby Doo meets the band Kiss. Good old Gene Simmons. And my favorite's always been, you gotta lose your mind to Detroit Rock City. Get up! Everybody's gonna move their feet. Get down! Everybody's gonna leave the seat. And and then all of a sudden, Lego got involved with Scooby Doo. All of a sudden, And since now Lego made Scooby-Doo, I like to have my own Scooby-Doo play set. Like, I like to have the Scooby-Doo set of the haunted house with the monsters and the mystery machine. Because I like to have the Scooby set of Scooby and the gang and the mystery machine. But since the Lego Scooby-Doo got popular enough, they made a webisode in 2015, and then Scooby-Doo Lego Nighttime Terror 2015, Scooby-Doo Lego Haunted Hollywood 2016, and Scooby-Doo Lego Blowout Beach Bash in 2017. And then there is Scooby-Doo Shaggy's Showdown in 2017. And then they did Batman and Scooby-Doo Brave and the Bold. So that's a third time that Scooby-Doo met Batman. He met Batman in 1972, which it would have been a lot funnier if the legendary Adam West played Batman in that animated episode, old chum. But no, it's the Super Friends version of Batman. And of course, the Batman I mentioned with Kevin Conroy on Scooby Doo and Guess Who. And now it's Batman Brave and the Bold, a cartoon series of Batman where it's supposed to be DC superheroes in the Golden Age. So that's three times. Three times they meet Batman. Like, that is way out, man! And then Scooby Doo meets another group of supernatural hunters, and it wasn't an Scooby Doo wasn't a Scooby Doo episode, but a supernatural episode called Scooby Natural in 2018, where the Winchester brothers and one of their friends meet Scooby and the gang and start helping them solve a mystery. And of course, there is Scooby Doo and the Gurmit Ghosts in 2018 with Bobby Flay and, well, I forgot who the other actor is, but I'm sure it's going to pop up on the bottom. And then they did sort of a 13 Ghosts of Scooby-Doo reunion when they made Scooby-Doo and the Curse of the 13 Ghosts in 2019, where they reunite with Vincent Von Ghoul and Flim Flam. And then this is in and then they made Scooby-Doo Happy Halloween Scooby-Doo in 2020. And of course that's where they met Elvira, Mistress of the Dark. And then they did Scooby-Doo meets Courage the Cowardly Dog in 2021. And then that's when the CGI started making a brand new Scooby-Doo, where it's supposed to be opening to the Hanna-Barbera cinematic universe. They're trying to do the same thing like what DC and Marvel's been doing, trying to open up a universe with crossing over with all the other characters. And that's when they made Scoob in 2020. And then And then they did Scooby Doo Where Are They Now, where it's live action meets cartoon characters, and it's like, reuniting Scooby and the gang for one more mystery and interviews with all the cast members, which I thought it was pretty cool. And then YouTube itself decided to make a live action series, but it's more darker and more like that series Riverdale, called Mystery Incorporated. It started in 2022, and I don't know if it's still continuing on or not. I mean, I only saw one episode, but I don't know if they're going to pick up where they left off on that one. Oh, one more thing I forgot to mention about the Scooby-Doo Apocalypse. That one is actually a comic book series where it's like The Walking Dead, except in a Scooby Doo universe. Except instead of people turning into zombies, it's people turning into monsters. And Scooby Doo has this electronic device attached to him, so now he starts talking like a normal person, and he starts helping the gang when hell is breaking loose. And then, last but not least, this is the one that I'm going to talk about, and this is where I'm going to, you know, draw the line here. They decided to make a brand new Scooby Doo cartoon on HBO Max called Velma in 2023. But here's the thing, they have done way too many changes in this one, and now I'm going to tell you why I don't like it. Well, I'm pretty much done with the list. One thing I want to say, I don't like it when people make Velma gay. I mean, why? Why make Velma gay? Huh? I always had a hots for a nerdy girl. A girl who is so intellectual and smart, intelligent. Can't tell you how many times I always fantasize about me meeting Velma. I mean, meeting a girl who dresses up like Velma. But now the studio decided to make her gay? It's just not right. I mean, I even had crushes on actresses who played Velma on the live action. But another thing they've done, I mean, and they made, I mean, I know in the movie Scoob, they made Velma Hispanic, which I don't mind. But I bet on the Velma series, they made Shaggy black, Daphne Asian, and I know that she is voiced by Mindy, the actress who is in The Office, so she's Indian. And make Fred white, but I bet they're going to make him into a token white guy. Now, I don't mind changing ethnicities of people, but changing their sexuality is where I draw the line. I mean, heck, I disagree with Sherlock Holmes being gay. I mean, I'm okay with Sherlock Holmes being asexual, but gay? No. And I really don't accept Velma being gay. Now, I know I'm saying, I mean, now I'm not saying this because I'm homophobic. I'm not. I mean, you're talking to a guy who has a happily gay married brother, and I got along with his husband. I mean, he's like a second brother to me, and I really like him a lot. And I also have a sister who's also gay. So I'm not saying this because I'm anti gay. I just don't like the changes they keep doing to the characters. It's getting ridiculous. Now, for example, I mean, I remember that there was a character named Alan Scott on the DC comics. Alan Scott was the first Green Lantern during the Golden Age. And then now I hear that now they have a Green Lantern who is gay. And when I looked him up, his name is Alan Scott, but he's not the Golden Age Alan Scott. This is Alan Scott from Earth 2. Now, I like the idea of having a different Alan Scott instead of the same Alan Scott from the Golden Age turning out to be a gay Green Lantern. I mean, I don't have a problem with everybody being gay. It's just I don't like it when they change my favorite character and making them gay. That's my point. That's my point. I mean, heck, I'm okay with the whole idea about the Joker being bisexual. I mean, he had a girlfriend named Harley Quinn, but he abuses her. But it turns out that he is sexually attracted to Batman. That's why he was more obsessed of Batman than his girlfriend Harley Quinn. I'm okay with that premise. It's just I don't like the idea of making Velma gay. That's my point. But this is my opinion and this is how I feel about it. But anyway, this is my review for the day. And for those of you who enjoyed this review so far of Scooby-Doo and all, please leave a comment down below, hit like and subscribe, and... Oh, hang on. I got a message. Oh, my phone. Let's see who it is. Oh, it's Lion Blade. I wonder what he up. I wonder what he wants. Well, let's go see what he's up to.